as the staff designer at Center for Public Life, kind of my goal and aspiration is that we, and speaking and thinking of us as a we, this kind of cabal of teachers who have come together to lead engaged courses, how do we elevate the craft of what we're doing individually? Because we can all pull on the resources that we have in this room, and that you have now access to someone like Megan or Sanjeet or myself or Christy. So, in not only in running your courses, but how do we think about our work as it pertains to beauty and power or meaning or aspiration, and how do we kind of pull on all these collective resources to kind of elevate everything that we do, because this is something that goes beyond what CCA has accomplished in years past. Really fundamentally what Engage is doing. So that was not part of the spiel, but notes that I'm taking because I've been very inspired by listening to you all talk so far. So with that said, we'll get into documentation. We have a video, it was not embedded. I think I'm going to run it at the end.
Plus, is that your bag?
Oh,
Thanks.
That's fine. So we'll go through an example of documentation at the end, but what we're going to cover regarding documentation for Engage today is kind of nuts and bolts, the why and the how of documentation for your coursework. And within the why, it's that we, the Center for Public Life, but more importantly you all, the Engaged community, rely upon strong documentation. And then individually, documentation is integral to the success of your Engaged course. The hows go through the kind of technical guidelines, so what we're looking for with a lot of specificity. And then what I've found, something that Megan and Sanjeet and I have really come to, is thinking of your course in a narrative structure. We have very, very, very compelling stories to tell, perhaps some of the most compelling stories that the school has to offer. How are we cultivating those stories from day one so that we can tell them in the most successful and meaningful way possible? So for the Engaged community, documentation is key, and this is for the center, but this is also for Engage specifically. It's for funding. We receive financial backing from organizations like the Adobe Foundation, the Walter and Elise Haas Fund, and the Pantareya Foundation. This kind of gives us the means to continue doing what we're doing, and you all play an integral role in capturing that, so that it makes my job easier to craft this into a story, and makes Sanjeet's job easier, and Advancement's job easy for us to go out and spread the good word. So think of yourself as kind of a component of this whole process if you choose to. For publicity, we need to talk about what we do because it's cool and it's interesting, and it's really doing some cool, it's doing some things that haven't been seen before. So as Russell kind of made mention of before, we were fortunate enough to receive an article in American Craft Magazine, The Atlantic Cities, this is another one of Russell's photographs you see at the bottom, and then Glance, the alumni magazine, which kind of furthers the cause even more. These are all pretty recent publications, but once again, the more work that we do on a daily basis, the easier it is for us to tell these stories, and they're compelling enough that they'll get out there. And then, more importantly, for the institution as a whole. So you have student and faculty experiences that come out of this that are transformative and meaningful and inspirational and aspirational. So how do we capture all those as they're occurring so that we can stand back and point to them? We're going to be working on a video with the admissions department. How do we make their job easier to get the kind of students who are going to want to take the Engage classes, so that you're no longer in the position to say maybe there needs to be a survey of students who want to come in and can really dedicate themselves to this, that they find themselves here because they see how CCA as an institution is applying their Make Art That Matters mantra. Now for you as individuals, documentation is key. This is just a sampling of some of the imagery that we've captured, but there's a story behind each one of these images. So it's been a really wonderful experience for myself to go through and kind of learn that story. Now for you, again, we're thinking about this idea of reflection and documentation, and they're ultimately a cyclical process. The more you document, the more capable you are of reflection, and the more you reflect, the more you're apt to document. So find yourself in the habit of documentation, and I think it'll really improve your teaching and creative practice, kind of surrounding the people within the process and the project itself in that kind of specificity. So this is just a little model that we kind of came up with that we felt like kind of encapsulated the innate value for yourself and for your practice.
And you guys have done, there's been an excellent, fantastic examples of how each, each faculty member is doing that in a different way.
Yeah.
Seeing your successes already.
It's been very nice to listen to you all talk today and how so much of this is redundant. You know, you guys are already so heavily in this headspace that it's kind of apparent, but once again, kind of worth reiterating. The technical requirements, this is in the information package, so I'm not really going to dwell on this, but we have set up a Picasa page. It's like a imagery page. What we'll do is at the beginning of the semester, have a gallery that's accessible. All of you will have access to the whole page, but find your gallery. So Russell Production Furniture one, you go click in there, upload your photos, and just be generous. Because the more images that I have access to, the easier my job is. We can find the right ones. Yeah.
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
So when you go on the Picasa website and you put in this login and this password, and when you get in there, you'll see a folder with
There will be a folder with your course
the
name.
name of
Click
our
on
course.
that, and then there's
And
an upload section,
put
and you
all-
can grab all your files and dump them there.
I have another question.
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah.
So because they're TIFF and Trinity API, they're not gonna take us like hours to get up there? I mean, what is your recommendation for uploading?
They might be, maybe it's best for JPEG for the.
Yeah, it's gonna take a really.
Okay, let me.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be painful.
Yeah, you're absolutely
For
right.
me.
Let me take a look at that, and I'll send out an email
Okay.
that clarifies this a bit
That'd be
better.
great,
This is
yeah.
the first time that we're kind of instituting something.
I mean, I think that the one thing you could do here is that the ones that you upload, maybe there's a way that I would still take them in TIFFs in the sense, and then maybe what you can do is convert them into JPEG before uploading. My concern here is one of that we had a couple things that went into print, physical, good old fashioned, lovely, handleable print. I'm concerned about issues around compression and kind of losing kind of image quality with JPEGs. So maybe what you can do, if it's not too much work, is still take them in TIFFs and then save a version of the ones of the images that you want to, because that way at least then
Right.
Erin can be able to peruse all of them and look at those. And then if we need to, if something is going to go into print, we can say, hey, do you mind stopping by the center with a CD of the TIFFs of the image? Because I do get concerned about JPEGs as kind of being archival.
I mean, I'm happy to try out the TIFF, but it feels like it's really
Yeah.
bogging down
Oh,
my
that's
system.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use Picasa for the photos I take. I do the same. I document a ton of photographs and I share it with the students. And in the architecture division, we have really extensive archiving mechanisms. And so a couple of things, there's a free software you can download to upload photos in batch format from Picasa. And that's nice because you can just drag a whole bunch of images in and you just hit upload and you can let it run. You don't have to do each image at a time, which can take a long time. And then also for transferring larger format files, you can use the Dropbox,
Right.
either the online version or the CCA version, and that's been pretty helpful.
Yeah, and then that tends to come up more on a circumstantial basis of we're looking for this specifically and we get in
Yeah.
contact.
What's
Yeah.
the software called?
If you
Just
just
put
go
it on.
online to Picasa,
Oh,
this website, there's an
There's a
uploader.
prompt, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can download this free software. I think Flickr has a similar thing, but it's
Yeah.
something you download
It's quite
for
intuitive.
free, and then you just, drag photos and hit upload, and you can let it run on its own. You don't have to do
And I'll make
each
sure that a link to that or sort of more clarification or direction to that is included in this email, sort of
Yeah,
this
that's
community
useful.
email.
Yeah. Okay, we'll, if there's more questions, we can come back to this. Now we get to this idea of the narrative structure, and someone made mention of this before, and I think this is really important in that when you all put together your course syllabus, you're innately putting together a narrative to your course. And the way that the critique environment of CCA works, from my experience as a student, but also now being on the staff side and looking, there is a very clear beginning, middle, and end.